안녕하세요. 제 이름은 제니입니다.
안녕하세요. 내 이름은 서은입니다.
지난 1월부터 우리는 라이팅 수업을 재원 선생님과 함께 하기 시작했습니다. 이 수업에서는 SAT 수필 쓰는 것을 연습하고 새로운 어휘도 외우고 클래식 챕터를 읽고 분석했어요.
제일 먼저 읽은 책은 존 로스가 쓰신 책입니다. 제목은 A Separate Piece예요. 이 책은 제2차 세계대전 때 고등학교에 다니던 두 친구들의 이야기입니다.
그리고 이 수업을 마무리한 숙제는 한 달 동안 이 책을 읽은 것들을 분석하고 수필을 쓰는 것이었습니다. 저는 피니와 진, 이 책의 주인공들의 관계가 진실한 우정이라고 생각할 수 있는가라는 것에 대해 썼어요.
저는 이 책의 캐릭터들과 사건들이 문자로 표현하는데 그 이상의 더 깊은 의미가 있다는 수필을 썼어요. 이 책은 이야기 속에 여러 가지 상징적인 메시지가 있다고 생각할 수 있습니다.
A friend is someone who knows all about you and loves you anyway. Only those who have encountered true friendship know what it means to accept your friend for who he is. Vibrant, forgiving, and understanding is how I portray Finney. It seems like the one thing Finney lacks, however, is the most important of all. Blind to reality, he cannot accept Jean for who he is. Finney has built his own world where Jean is the kind of friend Finney wants him to be. This is why, even when Jean tries to tell him that he had purposely pushed him off the tree, he refuses to listen. Deep down in his heart, Finney knows what happened. Because of his selfishness, Finney only listens to the things he wants to hear. Finney and Jean's friendship might have seemed ideal on the outside, but it was very broken. Jean is able to be there for Finney during hardships, but he cannot rejoice over Finney's successes. Oscar Wilde once said, "Anyone can sympathize with the sufferings of a friend, but it requires a very fine nature to sympathize with a friend's success." Jean's action to push Finney off the tree is provoked by jealousy, the violent outbreak that destroys a life. After he has physically hurt Finney with his ludicrous actions, Jean manages to hurt Finney emotionally by telling him the truth that Finney is not capable of receiving. Finney, on the other hand, cannot look at Jean for who he is. All these things are a hindrance to calling their relationship friendship. Nevertheless, Jean's apology and Finney's forgiveness make it possible for Jean to break out of his self-centered thinking. By the end of the novel, Jean has accepted both his own guilt and the gift of Finney's friendship.
An allegory is a symbolic narrative in which fictional characters represent universal truths or generalizations about human existence. A Separate Piece by John Knowles has many symbolic events and characters that can be interpreted as allegories. Jean and Finney are two best friends who learn and grow together. Throughout the book, both characters, as well as the rest of the senior class of Devon School, face the real world in the form of World War II. Finney, the main character's best friend, shows us a different side of humanity, a kind of pure innocence and goodness that is rarely ever seen. But it becomes a very dangerous mentality that only ends up playing a part in destroying him. No matter what, Finney always assures himself that the world is good and that all people have good in them. Anything other than that, he cannot take and often refuses to acknowledge or even believe. Although his beliefs are always rooted from good, they often do not reflect what the world is really like. What I mean is, I love winter, and when you really love something, then it loves you back, in whatever way it has to love. I didn't think that was true, but it was like every other thought and belief of Finney's. It should have been true. As young adults, all the characters in this book unavoidably become exposed to the world outside of the peace in Devon School. Devon represents a haven that is excluded from the pressures of the real world, and more importantly, the war. Some rushed into their fate, some held back, and some like Jean were ready to face the world for what it was. People like Leper, Jean and Finney's friend, go into the war wide-eyed and oblivious to the true horrors of what it was like out in the world, and come back having gone crazy by the trauma of reality. Leper emerged from a protective cloud of vagueness, only to meet it, the horror, face to face, just as he has always feared. It seems almost impossible to sum up in words, but I say this was the story of all of us. Jean's blunt approach at life, Finney's unbelievable innocence, and the war's cruel face comes into view in a way that is so clear. It was a story much bigger than what it was presented as and became great and deep in a way that was unforgettable.
Wow, good job, Dylan and Paul.